Google Pest Control Marketer. Grow your business like never before. Call 770-993-0004.
Well, hello, folks. This is Hal Coleman, and welcome to another episode of Pest Control Marketing Live and the Pest Control Marketing Podcast. I'm here with my co-host, my mentor, my friend, my business partner, and thorn in my side sometimes when I don't do the things he tells me I need to be doing to grow my business, Mr. Online Mike Stewart. How you doing, Mikey?
I'm great. And, we're trying to help PCOs one person at a time, baby steps. I got some things I want to talk about, the basics of the online world today, and probably want to just jump right into it unless you got anything burning issue you want to bring up.
I'm anxious to hear. I have not a clue what you're going to talk about today. So you jump right in there, and if I can contribute, I'll interrupt you.
Well, we have clients of all kinds, and sometimes there's a misunderstanding of what has to happen, especially when it comes to the online world. And the offline world and the online world is just as important. I mean, you can't just do online. You can't expect the internet to do everything for you. You've really got to support the online with the offline. You got to support the offline with the online. And there's these 1,000 little things. I go to networking meetings and people don't give out their web address. Just drives me nuts. I mean, you never know when somebody might go to your website or look at your social media or look at your YouTube channel or listen to your podcast. You don't know where the person who is ultimately going to spend money with you makes that buying decision. You don't know where that's going to happen. That could happen right at the door on the front porch. They could make a decision. That's why you've got to do everything and anything to create what we call in the internet traffic. But let me tell you that when I have been around mentors who are multimillionaires and masters at generating leads on the internet and converting those leads into paying customers, they say that there's only two things in the internet that work: traffic and conversion. And those are just words for who finds you and who makes a decision to spend money with you. I mean, that's all that matters. Other than that, it's a hobby. And some of the frustrations I have is people, their impatience. One of the most successful internet marketers in the world says you've got to get targeted traffic to the perfect message and test. And then when you know what works, you split test it and you try something different and see if you can do better than the other. And one of the things that has been frustrating for me in the past is when people give up too soon. They expect, well, hey, I've been running this ad campaign for a week and I hadn't had a call. Well, you got to be patient because there are so many factors that can make the difference of people calling or contacting you and deciding to do business with you. The only thing you can do, I equate it to fishing. I know you're a hunter and a fisher and an outdoorsman. And I've had people say, well, you know what? I've had people call me and think I'm another company. And I want that to stop. Well, that's like saying, in fact, I had a client this morning that said that's like baiting your hook, putting it in the water and saying, oh my gosh, I got a 10-pound catfish, but I wanted a 40-pound flounder. Complaining about what you catch is something you should figure out. How do I convert whatever I catch into something of value? And then the other thing is, well, I sometimes I'll set up campaigns of ads and say, well, I don't want that zip code. I don't want that customer. What an attitude. John Reese used to say, get as much traffic as you can and make sure your conversion rates are 2 to 4%. And don't complain about what you get, because here's what you cannot control. You can't control how people click. You can't control how people interpret your information. You can't control who's searching. And you can't control the market. And I'll give you a great example. I had one of my coaching clients say, "Oh my God, the ads aren't working." Well, what do you mean the ads aren't working? Well, I hadn't had a call all week. Well, you know what happened that week? Ukraine was invaded by Russia. Let me tell you something. People, the news, current events, atrocities, COVID, all these things, the time of year, the season fluctuates. It's the average of time and consistency. You have got to find the perfect message to the targeted traffic and quit saying, "I don't want that." You want traffic as cheap. You want the cheapest possible traffic. And if you can convert 2 to 4% of those people into buyers and make a profit, you got to do that all day long. And that's what I wanted to talk about today is one, a great example. One of the things I do with the clients that I coach, I say you need at least 15 landing page campaign tests. In other words, everybody wants to be found for pest control near me or exterminator near me. That is the most competitive online search there is. Well, guess what? If you've got 50 companies in your market all wanting to be on the first page of Google, the price of that click goes through the roof. If you were paying $1 a click in the winter, you might be paying $10 a click for the same, and they say, "Well, why does the price go up?" Because Google says it's a bid. Whoever's willing to pay the most gets to the top. So when you got rich major companies that you're buying clicks against, they can price you out of the market. That's why you break it down into the problems you solve. And I fight every month. I need more. What are the first question I ask everybody is, what makes you money? Break it down into, is it rats? Is it bats? Is it scorpions? Is it bed bugs? Is it, break it down into cheaper words, because somebody looking for get rid of bed bugs might be a more targeted link than somebody just looking for general pest control. And well, I don't know that I'm going to want to do bed bugs. Well, but that bed bug customer could turn into a lifetime customer. What's the value of a lifetime customer? Quit trying to guess what the public's going to do. You have zero control over that. All you have control over is where you place advertising, getting found, increasing your traffic, and making sure that when people find you, that they know, like, and trust you. I've actually got a customer who refuses to get on camera. And that just frustrates the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And so what I want to talk about today is when somebody says this has worked time and time again, and here's the proof, be willing to do what it takes, even if it's uncomfortable. And it's not technology. It's just knowing that there's only two things that help generate leads on the internet: is more traffic, targeted traffic, and content that convinces somebody that, you're the person to do business with. And that's, we have statistical proof that pretty websites with stock photography are just lemonade for 50 cents, as Larry Latimer used to say.
Larry Latimer got that from me.
He did?
Yes.
Well, Larry, see, if you're stealing from Larry, you're stealing twice. But that's what I wanted to talk about is I had somebody this week who said, we're getting people calling a number thinking we're one of our competitors. And I don't want that. And I'm going, why? They called you. What would you say to somebody who says, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Coleman, that you thought we were Stewart Pest Control, but you called our number.
How can we help you?
How can we help you?
Tell me about your bug problem.
What motivated you to call our number? How did you get our number? I mean, you can't fix what the human people
Well,
are.
you know what my response would be if I had a pest control business and somebody called and said, "Yeah, is this ABC?" No, I was calling another company. I would say, "Well, isn't this your lucky day?"
Yeah, you see, you're converting a mistake.
Yeah,
I mean, I was telling the client this morning, I said, when you bait the hook and you throw it in the water and you catch a catfish and you're mad it wasn't, a flounder, because there's catfish in the ocean. Uh, he was telling me, well, 90% of the calls I'm getting are for this type of business, but I really want this other business because it makes me a whole lot more money. And I go, well, that's great, but you got to find the bait to just get those people.
mm-hmm.
And I said, how do those people search? Well, I don't know. Well, we got to find. I gave him the example. We buy Google AdWords, and it took us 6 months to figure out the words that helped us find people who are potential pest control owners. That's a hard thing to do. We didn't know what it was.
Right.
We found out the number one term: apply for a pest control license. See, consumers wanting to kill their bed bugs don't search that. So we don't buy pest control. That would be a wasted click for me and you. So,
you're talking about fishing now. I could probably put this in a better context. Is that if you're fishing in Lake Lanier, and you want to catch crappie at a certain time of the year, you don't go out in the middle of the lake where it's 100 feet deep and start fishing at 20 feet of depth, because that's not where they are. They're in the lake. They're in the lake, but just because you're fishing in the lake doesn't mean you're stand a chance in heck to catch them, because you're fishing in the wrong place. There are no crappie where you're fishing. You've got to learn where they are and go there to fish for them.
right.
And if you're just going along the banks, throwing a plastic worm over to the bank, you're not going to catch any stripers there, because they're all out in schools out in the middle of the lake.
Well, the internet is an ocean or a lake, and your customers are the fish, and you got to have the best bait. And let me ask you, if you're in the back of the boat and you've got 8 lines out or 1 line out, what are your chances of getting more fish?
Well, it depends on if the fish are there. But if you got 8 lines out, you got 8 times as much chance of catching the fish as you do with 1 line.
Well, that's what people. That's one of the things that I frustrated. I say we need to put as many hooks in the water, baited, targeted. The right bait for the right fish, and some people do it, and some people just don't make it a priority. They get so hung up in working, in their business, they don't work on their business.
Yeah.
And then being impatient. I have a person, he'll remain nameless, but like for a week, he said, like I said, he said, well, I'm not getting any calls this week, so it ain't working. I said, you got to be patient. Did it work the week before? Well, yeah. Well, guess what? We had a national, we've had huge news stories over the last few years, and people, it's like I used to see schools of fish in the water, and they'd be swimming, and when my boat would come by, they'd dart away and they're gone because we scared them. People get scared and get focused on things, and then until it becomes a priority, they don't look for you. So, at any rate, you got to be a master of traffic and conversion. Traffic is earned 3 ways. And if anybody tells you there's more ways to get traffic, I don't agree with them. The number 1 way to get traffic is, to get found, is you got to optimize your Google My Business. One of the biggest ways, Google My Business, is the Google reviews. And that's, and sometimes people don't even go to your website. They look at your reviews and never call you, and you'll never know. So making Google My Business a priority is number 1. Number 2, content marketing. Content marketing, in my mind, is the only search engine optimization in there. Giving Google fresh, relevant content that makes you the authority in your market. I've asked Hal, we ask our customers, what's the number one way you find Mike Stewart and Hal Coleman? And what would you say almost 100% of the time? I listen to your podcast.
Listen to podcasts and watching videos.
Right. Content. That content is targeted to our audience. We build a relationship unbeknownst to us. It's working 24/7 worldwide. And that's why we give out our contact information, because when somebody contacts us, we're going to take that traffic and we're going to do our best to see if we're a good fit and convert them to a customer. You have to do the same thing. Most businesses do zero content marketing, and most business, if they do content marketing, do it poorly. And that's number 2. And then number 3 is paid advertising. And paid advertising, there are more places to spend money to get your target audience to your conversion content than you're willing to spend. But John Reese told me years ago in a meeting, he said, if I spend $1 and I make a profit of $1 for every dollar I spend, how many dollars should I spend? You took too long to answer. That was his response. Anytime $1 turns into a profit, then you should spend every penny you can, because you can't lose when you know the combination.
I told me one time, he said, nobody ever went broke making money.
No, well, and then if you spend $1 and lose money, what do? You stop and try something different. One of the biggest mistakes I've ever seen is the minute things start getting a little tight, the first thing they drop is their advertising. That's the last thing you should drop, is your advertising.
Yeah, that's like having a football team and saying, guys, we just finished up the season. We've lost 6 of the last 7 games. We got to make some changes. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut our practice sessions down from 5 times a week to 2 times a week. And we're going to sell some of our exercise equipment and see if that'll help us.
That's how crazy it is. However, I sympathize with people. If you're in a financial position where you can't afford to advertise, your mantra should be, I got to do whatever it takes to get my cash flow back up to where I can advertise again. And if that means, I go to networking meetings, Hal, because one, I learn from them. I make relationships. Nothing but good has come from going out and networking. Nothing good for me, but good stuff.
Who taught you how to do that?
Huh?
Who taught you how to do that?
Hal Coleman taught me that 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, more like 30 years ago.
Was it 30 years? Okay, well, there you go. But every networking meeting I go to, there's never a pest control agency at it. Never. That's crazy. If you don't go to at least one, if I were you, I would be going to 3 networking meetings with QR code door hangers or brochures. I'd be giving out my web address. I'd be telling people to watch my landing page video. I'd be giving out discount coupons. I'd be meeting with real estate agents, having lunch with them to build referral partners. I'd tell them to share my website. I'd say, put a link to my website on your real estate website. Nobody does any of this stuff.
No.
And then you want to complain when the phone ain't ringing with no business because nobody called last week, so the advertising isn't working. Well, my God, we have an atrocity in the world. We have a horrible war going on, and the world is obsessed with this horrible news, and that little swarming termite got put off on the back burner.
Yeah, and something that we need to make sure our listeners understand is that the stuff that you and I teach our clients is not stuff that we're just coming up with to test it and see if it'll work or not. It's proven to work. And not only a lot of it worked with my business when I had it, which was many years ago, but the stuff that we've learned that our clients do, and it works. It's not something that we're guessing at. We're not saying, well, let's try this and see if it'll work. This is something, if it's worked for the last 50 clients that I've had, the odds are it's going to work for you too. This is not guesswork.
No, it's every successful, this is as much offline as it is online. Every successful online marketer, we've mentioned before, Russell Brunson. You ought to buy the book .com Secrets. We don't get anything for that. Go to Amazon, or I think you can actually, if you opt in at .comsecrets.com, and read his book about the psychology of what works online. And I met with Russell one time, and let me tell you what he spends on advertising every month. Every month, advertising. $8 million a month is what he spends. He's a $400 million company because he found his traffic and he converts them and he makes a profit. So it's not how much you spend, it's how much you test, it's how much you track, it's how much you're willing to do. And if you're not willing to do the things we say, you're not somebody that should waste your money on it. If you're not, it's, I also equate it to going to Weight Watchers. Hey, I need to lose 50 pounds. Well, Mr. Stewart, we can help you lose 50 pounds. Now you got to stop eating ice cream, potato chips, hamburgers, and Big Macs. Oh no, I'm not going to stop doing that. Well, Mr. Stewart, we're not going to take your money because if you don't do the program we tell you to do, it's not going to work. Well, I refuse to do it. Well, then, you can give us money, but it ain't going to work.
Well, what we usually hear from our clients is, okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
And then they come in and step on the scales 30 days later and they weigh exactly the same and said, did you cut out the pies and cakes and hamburgers and sodas? Well, I got busy this week and I got hungry.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I just had to eat. And so I didn't do it. They say they're going to do it and they fully intend to, but they just don't.
Well, and that's number one. And number two problem is, okay, I want to lose 50 pounds. Well, Mr. Stewart, we can help you with that, but I need to lose it by 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Well, Mr. Stewart, that ain't going to happen. I don't care. There's nothing we can tell you in our program that by 5 o'clock tomorrow or by 5 o'clock next Tuesday, you're not going to lose 50 pounds. You might lose 2 pounds a week if you stay the course. And if you stay the course, eventually in 48, in 20 weeks, there's a good possibility you'll be 50 pounds lighter. But you can't cheat. You can't come up with excuses. You've got to stay the course.
Yeah, my wife has lost 1 year, the year before COVID, she lost about 60 pounds. Mm-hmm. COVID hit and we were trapped here and she kind of went off her diet plan and has recouped a lot of that weight now. And she's getting ready to go back on it again. But the thing that used to frustrate her is when she first started out, she's going through a program and she buys this food from this place and goes there once a week. And she would come back and she lost 4 pounds first week, 2 pounds second week, 3 pounds the third. Everything's going fine, but all of a sudden you come to a week where you didn't lose anything.
Right.
She said, I've done the same thing. I've eaten the food. I haven't cheated. I haven't done anything wrong. I've been perfect, and I didn't lose a single bit of weight. It has stopped working. I said, no, it hasn't stopped working. I said, it's your body's making adjustments and trying to realize that something is going on. It's trying to hang on to the fat for survival. And I said, just keep doing what you're doing. And next week you'll have lost. But she used to get so frustrated because she'd go a week or two, she's doing the program and not losing. And then all of a sudden 1 week she's lost 5 pounds. It's the same thing. Like you said, the guy who said, well, it was working last week, but I didn't get any calls this week. You might not get any calls this week. You might get 3 times as many calls next week, but we're looking at this like with my coaching and I'm looking at it. This is a 1-year program. At the end of the year, you're not going to recognize the business that was you a year ago.
Right.
But it's week to week, month to month, and the transformation takes place over about a year. One of our coaching clients, Michael, who started with us, he was a fireman full time, and he had worked for a pest control company as a part-time job. Then he got his license and started a little pest control route on the side as a part-time job. And he decided that he wanted to be able to leave the fire department and be in pest control full time. So he started working with both of us. doing this stuff based on the long range plan. And 36 months later, he had 7 trucks on the road, but he's just stayed with it. And, you know, there were times when he would say, well, I'm not getting any calls right now. Well, sometimes it doesn't rain.
Yeah. Well,
but over the long haul, his business, and he said, he said, I've been growing over 100% a year for 3 years.
Yeah. Well, you know, the message of today is patience, consistency, willing to do what others don't, and learning that traffic and conversion is what you got to focus on. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. We've talked about it in the past a little bit. And if you want to have more details, call Hal at 770-993-0004. You know, we love for pest control companies to set up a 1 free hour with us. You know, download Hal's book at howtogrowapestcontrolbusiness.com. Take him up on a free hour. I love spending an hour with people. You can call me at 770-826-3662. Listen to the podcast, read the book. But, you know, the thing is, just remember, Weight Watchers works because it's a program that's tried and true. Pest control marketing, what we do is tried and true. Why do they make people go to these meetings with Weight Watchers? It's because it holds you accountable to stay the course. You could probably take this information and do it on your own, but there's nothing like having a mentor who has no emotional, connectivity to your business other than wanting your success. And that's why when you have us as coaches, and oh my gosh, I hated going to piano lessons and not have practiced.
Yeah.
And you know who the people that quit us are, Hal, most 9 times out of 10? The people that don't do what we tell them to do. And they get to the point, I guess, they realize they're never going to do it. They don't want to do it. They don't like doing it. And that's okay. But if you want to know, but don't ever say, I don't know what to do. We've got a program. I'll stand behind this program because I've seen it work too many times. Call Hal, call me. Anything else you want to say today?
That's not nearly as bad as going to your boxing lesson and having not practiced. Mike, I think you covered it, and it was very good information today. I appreciate that. And folks, I appreciate you hanging in with us here. We'll see you next time on the Pest Control Marketing.live and the Pest Control Marketing Podcast.
Hal Coleman has been active in the pest control industry for over 40 years, including owning and operating his own successful pest control business for 18 years. He now devotes his time to helping other PCOs and other WCOs double, triple, and even quadruple their businesses faster than they ever imagined. Be sure to check out his website, pestcontrolmarketer.com. For more information about Hal's coaching program, you can reach him at 770-993-0004 or email him hal@halcoleman.com. Mike Stewart is known as the Internet audio and video guy. Since the birth of the Internet, Mike has been showing small business owners how to get more new customers, increase their sales, and grow their businesses online using audio and video, now with iPhones and Android phones. For more information about Mike's coaching program and his online training courses, visit MikeStewartCoaching.com or email him mike@internetaudioguide.com.
Google Pest Control Marketing.